Well, hello everybody. How are you? Well, welcome to this webinar we are doing today. I'm Hector de Prada from Modular DS, and well, very soon I'm going to introduce our guest today, Lana. But let's wait a couple of minutes to get everybody in here. I think today is gonna be a smaller webinar than other times because it's like a very specific one for our users and also for our users that use our integration with patchstack, our patch and protect add-on, as well as those interested in using it, because this webinar we are hosting it because of the integration we performed with and our collaboration with patchstack from a couple of months ago that has had a lot of success among our users, and we think it's a very important part of our system right now. So we are very excited about this webinar today. Just to remind you, everybody, we will answer all the questions about this integration, about how patchstack and modular DS work together. Okay, at the end, first we are gonna go a little bit through it, and with Lana, we are gonna talk a lot about security and things that I'm sure everybody managing websites it's going to like, okay, because they are very very important. And to begin with, I don't want to I don't know how to say. I don't want to wait anymore. Let's introduce Lana to the stage. Lana Rafaela, product marketing manager at Patchstack. Lana, how are you?
Hi, Hector. Thank you so much. Doing good. You?
Well, thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to have you on to talk about this partnership with so that for us is like super important. We are very happy about it, and I'm sure our users are gonna learn a lot today about security.
That's the goal. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
Security and also marketing.
Yeah,
Security.
yeah,
Gotta
of
add
course, of
that.
course. But that's also very important. We're gonna talk about that as well, like how security is gonna help WordPress professionals with their maintenance services to sell their maintenance services because it's also something very important today. So yeah, let's talk about all of that. But before we start, Alana, I wanted to ask you because this is a conversation I've been having with our team like in the past few days. Are you guys in at Patchstack seeing a big increase in the vulnerabilities discovered in the past few weeks or couple of months?
I would say there are definitely trends. There are definitely trends that we hadn't necessarily seen before. And this is normal, in the age of AI, in the age of being able to look at the code more deeply. This is exactly what we expect to see more often.
Yeah, that's what we thought because we have been seeing like a lot of different attacks like lately, like more than we were used to see like in just a few months ago. So yeah, we thought so. For anybody who doesn't know, okay, Patchstack is the leading security company in WordPress. I could say you have the biggest vulnerability database in WordPress, and one of the first things I want to go through is a little bit about of the data that you guys show up like every year, like in your paper, in your
Mhm.
state of WordPress security. I'm gonna share my screen here, okay, to um, to add some context to our viewers, okay, because I've gotten some stats, okay, some basic stats from that report you guys did last year, which gets data from 2024 actually, okay, but basically it says that there were like almost 8,000 vulnerabilities discovered in WordPress in 2024. For what I've talked with other people on your team, I believe, Lana, I don't know if you can confirm this because I don't think the report is out for this year, but I think in 2025 it was more than 10,000, maybe.
The report is not out yet, but there are definitely increases, is all I'm allowed to say.
Okay,
But it's coming out soon. It's coming out soon by
okay,
March at
great.
the latest. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like we already saw a big increase from 2023 to 2024. I'm assuming for 2025 it's gonna be the same. Okay, that's the databases are public. And the craziest thing for me, or the most important one that we as WordPress managers should watch, is that 1/3 of these vulnerabilities were not patched in time. Okay, which basically made a lot of websites vulnerable to different kind of attacks. Okay, so this is for me like the most important thing. And also another stat that gets me to believe that there is going to be more vulnerabilities this year, well, 2025, 2026 now, is that one thing that the plugins team in WordPress has said is that we are getting more and more new plugins in the WordPress repository, also thanks to AI, because nowadays it's easier than ever to create a WordPress plugin. So,
Mhm.
so that will probably also get us to more vulnerabilities. Don't you think so, Lana?
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why basically a few months ago, around I would say like it was October or something like that, we started our collaboration between Patchstack and Modular DS, and basically this collaboration in case anybody who's here, okay, that I'm assuming is all Modular DS users, but in case there is anybody that doesn't really know how this integration works, basically it has two different pillars. On the one side, we get access to the patchstack vulnerability database. So when you go to the global updater in Modular DS, for example, or if you activate the notifications, you're going to receive notifications when there is a new vulnerability discovered on your plugins, themes, WordPress versions, okay, which is super important. And also, thanks to our integration, you will always, or most of the time, you will get them before they are even public. So you can actually update or take any precautions you might need to take before the vulnerabilities are public. And on the other side, which is also very important, and it's what we call the patch and protect add-on. What this does is basically that it installs the patch stack plugin along with our modular DS plugin, and this applies some security and hardening rules to your website, like basic security things, very interesting that we're going to see later. And also, and this is for me like the most special thing we could say, it's the virtual patching for these vulnerabilities that have been discovered. So for example, which happens to us all the time, if you are, I don't know, if you're on vacation, or maybe it's Saturday at 3 a.m. and there is a new vulnerability discovering one of your plugins, probably you are not there to apply an update or just deactivate the plugin or something. So what we do with this add-on installed on our website is that there will be a virtual patch for that vulnerability, so it cannot be exploited on our site. Okay, so super helpful. We're going to see a little bit later how this actually works. Also, the new things we are introducing today here about this integration. But first, Lana, I would like to talk a little bit about security, since you guys are such experts. And I would love to know a little bit about the difference between the security measures we can take to prevent hacks and the security measures we might take after a hack has already happened on our website.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So typically in cybersecurity, what we think about is layers. It's often called the Swiss cheese model or a layer cake, depends if you prefer salty or sweet.
Yeah.
But what happens is there are typically three layers. So the first layer is network layer. This is your standard firewalls. This is for blocking bots and that sort of thing. Then you have the server layer, which checks for file integrity in your files. If there is something happening at that point, that's where you can protect against that. But most interestingly, the WordPress vulnerabilities layer, which is the application layer, is the most specific one and the one where it's for generic tools very hard to mitigate attacks. Because
Okay.
WordPress has permissions, WordPress has a lot of nuances. Um, and other tools, they simply don't understand how to mitigate at that point. So if you're covering things from a firewall perspective at the network layer, if you're covering things with your hosting on the server layer, you also have to cover it on the application layer. And that's really where Patchstack excels because it sees the context that WordPress has and that other tools don't even look out for. Obviously, if there is a hack happening, then the best thing and the only thing you can do is clean up after it, restore from a clean backup. But the point is, this process takes time, it wastes your money. So ideally, you would try to be as proactive as possible to stop that from happening in the first place.
Of course, of course. And how does it really work? Like when you have like the Patchstack plugin through our Patch and Protect add-on, how does it really work? What Patchstack does to prevent these kind of things?
Yeah. So, for example, take an attacker that wants to exploit a plugin vulnerability. If that happens, if Patchstack is installed, it detects this sort of traffic coming in and trying to do something that permissions are not allowing it at the moment. And
Yeah.
then it issues a JSON firewall rule to block that attacker from being able to perform an action that would lead to a hack.
Okay. That this is very important because what this does is that Patchstack or Modular DS in this case, it's not modifying our website code. It's not making our website more slow or slower because it happens with other security plugins. They apply a bunch of rules. They have a lot of configurations, a lot of things they do. And normally we get this a lot, like people saying, okay, so I have this security plugin and then my website performance is like really suffering from it. But with this approach you guys are taking, we avoid this, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So Patchstack doesn't modify code, it doesn't slow websites down. And primarily, this part about slowing websites down. The tools that do it because they apply thousands of rules, firewall rules, usually at once. And then, obviously, if you've got all of that running on the site, it's going to get slow. But Patchstack is more targeted. So only when there is a chance that there is an attack does Patchstack actually deploy that rule. So basically, the performance effect is zero.
That's great. That's great because we are not like I don't know how it's said in English, but in Spanish we have an expression. But you're not trying to kill flights with with
Again,
with
yeah,
a gun, but you're actually just applying the things that could happen on your side, like not applying a general firewall for everything, just for the specific vulnerabilities you are actually having. So it's much more efficient to say so.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
great,
definitely.
great. So, okay, we are saying this. Of course, this is an advantage of using the Patch and Protect add-on. What other, like, what are also the biggest difference between other security plugins or the advantages of using Patchstack for somebody maybe who is not using it? Like, I don't know, like the normal case you guys see, like in the WordPress ecosystem with somebody maybe with a shared hosting, I don't know, some basic configurations. What's the main advantage of using Patchstack compared to other solutions?
Well, Patchstack is the one that can actually prevent the most common cause of hacks, which are WordPress vulnerabilities. Unfortunately, other tools, firstly, they don't have a database as big as ours. And because we're the first to know about a vulnerability, we can be the first to protect from it. So that's key, really, having that data and then using that data to protect sites. Of course, you can use other plugins and other tools, but you really want to be looking at something that's going to give you the most precise protection when it comes to vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and also you were telling me before we were going live that many people they might think like, okay, so my hosting company they might have some basic security things, but maybe it's not as reliable as we think because you have done something about this, right, Lana?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, we ran actually two pen testing studies. So
Okay.
we were looking at a number of hosting companies, and we were testing them against specific vulnerabilities. So if memory serves me right, we tested around 18 hosts on 30 vulnerabilities. And
Okay.
what we found there, each of those hosts, they usually had marketing saying, "Oh, your website will be secure, everything's taken care of." And then when we try to exploit those vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
74% of cases, the vulnerabilities were exploitable. So, what this means in layman's terms is that hosts aren't effectively protecting against WordPress vulnerabilities. So, that part is still on the website owner or the agency managing the website. And that's where your patch and protect comes in.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think is that WordPress hostings are doing a bad job necessarily, but we also have to play our part. Like nowadays, with what we are seeing, like more vulnerabilities, more hacks, like I don't know, like cybersecurity is more complex by the day. So we have to, you said at the beginning, like put different layers of security, so we make sure our sites and our clients' sites are actually protected. That's we what we all want. Okay, so
Exactly.
yeah, great. So another thing, okay, so here, okay, we are understanding like some basic things about security, how patchstack and modular work together to increase the security of your sites. And also I want to talk a little bit about how all of this affects WordPress maintenance, okay, our workflows as professionals doing WordPress maintenance. So also I'm gonna share my screen once again, okay, here, and I want to talk, yeah, about a couple of things that impact our maintenance workflows and how this integration improves them, okay, because we have talked about most of these things already, okay, but we are talking here about proactive prevention to basically prevent hacks and emergencies, because as WordPress professionals we have all lived situations like this where one of our sites is hacked, and we might spend, I don't know, like a lot of hours, okay, trying to fix this problem, okay, and time sometimes it's only like the least important part, because we can try to make up for it later. But imagine, for example, if we are talking about really important sites, or maybe like e-commerce sites, e-learning sites that might have, I don't know, like private data from end users, maybe we could even have legal consequences, okay, because I've seen this before. The website owner or the e-commerce owner is probably going to be responsible, but if we were the ones providing the service to them and we were not taking the necessary measures to make sure this was secure, we could also face problems ourselves, okay, and taking well, reducing all of this is gonna lead to less stress for us and for our teams, knowing that our websites are more secure, that we are gonna have fewer of these problems, okay. And also, thanks to our integration with Modular DS Patchstack, we are gonna have centralized visibility of how our websites, if they are having attacks, if they are having problems, if they have vulnerabilities. Okay, we are gonna go through this later very briefly to see how this looks. Although I'm sure most of you already know, okay, but how it looks on Modular DS, because we have the centralized visibility, and also all of this will increase our efficiency with our maintenance services. Okay, and finally, and this for me, you said it at the beginning, Lana. Uh, One of the most important things is that cybersecurity and this patch and protect add-on can help us to offer better maintenance plans to our clients, okay, because, and it's even going to make them easier to sell, okay. And you guys know that one of our biggest concerns, or one of our biggest goals in Modular DS, is to help website professionals to sell their maintenance service. So for us, when we started our conversations with Patchstack, we saw the potential that this had for something like this, and that's why we decided to do our first official partnership, our first integration with Patchstack, to get this add-on, okay, because last thing I want to mention here is like, how does this help us sell our maintenance services, this add-on. And it's basically because we are offering added value that is not only just updates or backups, okay, like the main things that our WordPress maintenance plan might include, but also adding something that, if you ask me, it would be nice if WordPress by itself, without actually tell us things like this, like if we have vulnerable plugins or vulnerable WordPress version, but WordPress doesn't. So it's great this integration with Patchstack. Also, it's gonna one very important thing, because we get this question like all the time, like so many of our users, I think probably the biggest concern they have, uh, work related and maintenance related, is to sell their maintenance plans, okay, because it's not always easy to make a client understand why WordPress updates are important, or or what even are the plugin updates, what are plugins, okay, or even backups or database optimization. But the good thing and bad thing at the same time, of course, of cybersecurity, is that everybody, like I don't know, like even somebody that is not technical at all, understands that there is a problem with cybersecurity in the world, because we are all getting messages, trying like phishing messages. We are all seeing in the news like this big company was hacked, this big company, maybe the government had a breach. Okay, so everybody understand that cybersecurity it's important. Okay, so it's gonna make us make our life easier trying to sell WordPress maintenance. Don't you think this, Lana? Have you seen this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that when you can show clients also like the amount of threats that are being blocked actively, and this is something that I believe they can do through your integration as well. That way, clients can actually see, wow, this is a real concern and it
Yep,
affects me too. I mean, one of
yep,
the things that we often go back and forth with our agency users and our agency partners at Patchstack is how do we make people understand that you don't need to have a big website to get a hacked website?
yep,
Essentially, all of these attacks that happen are automated.
yep,
Hackers notice that there is a vulnerable plugin and they send as many requests as possible towards all websites in the world. And if your website has the vulnerable plugin, it's at risk of being hacked. So it doesn't matter. It's not the size. It's
yep.
just understanding that it's all automated. It's a whole business hacking
Yeah,
today.
100%, 100%. And this is something, yeah, we have to let our clients know. And it's going to be easier to make them understand that other more technical things, WordPress related. I'm sure of it. Also, it's going to allow us to differentiate ourselves like from our competition. I'm talking about as an agency, okay? If we are offering like extra security features, extra security services to our clients, there are going to be other agencies that are not offering these kind of services, okay. Also, like Lana just said, we are going to be able to show real attacks, like being blocked, vulnerabilities being prevented. Okay, so this is also very important for clients to actually see what's happening on the website. And all of this, of course, like having more security on our clients websites, it's going to lead to less problems on their websites, less problem for those clients, and a better relationship between us and the clients. So it will probably be a longer relationship that if we were having like problems or hacks and so on. And finally, and this is something we have seen as soon as we released this add-on last October, we started to see agencies that were telling us that they were being able now to get like premium plans, like bigger plans, to charge more to their most important clients, because they were actually offering, well, like we said, like more value now in terms of security, which is something very important for everybody, and for a really low price. From what they're getting from Patchstack and Modular DS, they were actually being able to charge much more to their client, because they were actually like offering much more value. So it was fair that they were actually charging more. So for all of this, I think it's like super. This was honestly like the our first thought, or the first reason why we decided to go through with this integration, because we thought it was actually going to help WordPress professionals sell maintenance services, which is, like I said, one of our goals. So this is what I wanted to see, because I thought it was very important. And also, Lana, there is something I want to mention. Okay, I'm not an expert in this, so I want you to tell us. But mostly for our European users, there is something called the CRA. Okay, which is affecting all of us, and it's very related to this. So, can you tell us what is this to begin with?
Yeah, so the Cyber Resilience Act is essentially the GDPR moment of the internet. Again,
Okay.
we're getting a
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but overall, it's really positive. Primarily, it started with being addressed to plugin developers to make sure that they
Okay.
identify vulnerabilities, mitigate them. But now the scope is expanding, so some websites will also be affected, and
Okay.
you could risk fines unless you prove that you are actively looking for vulnerabilities, that you are mitigating them, all to keep your users' data safe. So again, it's a really, I know it's always hard for any of us to go into regulations and go through a bunch of these texts, but it is a critical moment, and vulnerabilities definitely have a specific section in CRA. So
Okay.
the
And
more we can do, yeah.
yeah, no.
Mhm.
Sorry, Lana. When is this becoming a reality, or is it already working? I have no idea.
It's already starting in 2026. So
Okay.
there will be, I believe, some short window for adjustment, but it's starting in 2026. So it's very immediate.
Okay, so we better take action on this. Okay, great, great. I remember when the GDPR, like that, that was a big thing. I remember us like creating websites and trying to get like all the services or plugins to actually comply with all the cookie notices, policy, privacy policy notices, and like the tools we used to use to get a client info and things like that. So yeah, I guess that was really important. It made us improve a lot of things legally, and I'm sure this will do it too. So what I'm guessing also is that services like this add-on, like actually help professionals to be able to then show up that they are actually protecting the sites, right?
Exactly, exactly. So mitigating vulnerabilities with patch and protect is a key part of demonstrating compliance.
Okay, great, great, great. Well, amazing. So, well, we are gonna go now to the questions, okay, to see what everybody has been asking. I
Mhm.
remind you, okay, that we have a Slido link URL that Reyes, maybe you can share on the chat. Again, you can add all the questions there, okay, right now, and you can vote for the ones that you also want to be answered. So we can go in order, like the ones that we that have the most votes. We will start by those, okay? But while you guys do this, I just really briefly in 4 or 5 minutes, I want to show you how this integration actually works, okay, in Modular DS for those who don't know. And also, I want to show you the new things we have been working on for this integration and that we are actually releasing today for all of you. So I'm going to share my screen once again here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so basically, I am on my Modular DS dashboard. Okay, and what we had before with this integration is that I could go to any website. Okay, for example, this one, and here I could have a widget with the patch and protect add-on, and I could activate it here. Okay, in this website is not active right now. So if I go here to patch and protect, I don't have any data. Okay, because this is an add-on that is paid per website. Okay, it's either $225 per month or €2 per month. And well, what every user in Modular DS has is the vulnerability detection. Okay, so if you go here to vulnerabilities, on all your website, even if patch and protect is not enabled, you will have the info about the vulnerabilities. Okay, here as well as in the updater, like we saw here. Okay, we have a vulnerability here. Okay, and in the notifications you receive by email, WhatsApp, Slack, and so on. Okay, and then like I said, if we actually activate this add-on, like we have it active, for example, here on our own website, if we go to the patch and protect page, what we are going to see, first of all, is the stats of the attacks being blocked by a patchstack. Okay, and where are they coming from, like the IPs that are launching those attacks, and also which type of attacks they are. Okay, and this was what was in Modular DS until now. But what we are showing you guys today that haven't been seen before, it's our settings page, because a lot of you have asked about this, because like we said, the patch stack plugin that gets installed on your website, it applies some hardening rules to your site and some security configurations, okay? And some of you have asked us if you could change this, okay? Until now, you could not change this and you would need to leave the default. But now, as you can see in this page, okay, you have a bunch of options, okay? It's amazing because thanks to Patchstack, we have a lot of different security measures we can take from here, okay? We could even allow two-factor authentication from here, okay, without the need of a third-party plugin, okay, and things like that. So it's like super interesting, okay, for you guys at the site level to be able to tweak those settings to see what you actually want to be securitized in your website, or maybe some settings are not compatible with your I don't know, with other systems you have. So here you can tweak it all. So this is something new. And also another new thing we are launching today is here the patch and protect global dashboard, okay? And basically the good thing about this is that on the one side you can see on all your websites if you have patch and protect activated or not, and also the attacks that were blocked and the vulnerabilities or critical errors that are on those websites, okay? So it's like a basic overview security wise of your sites. And from here, which is something we have been asked a lot, you could maybe choose like, I don't know, like these two websites that don't have patch and protect active. And from here, you can actually activate it in the two websites at the same time, okay? Instead of having to go one by one activating those websites, okay? So for many agencies, they could tell us, okay, I want my 50 sites protected, okay? And they would need to go like one by one activating it. So now you can also do it in bulk. And lastly, a small thing, we have also added the option to white label the Patchstack plugin on your websites, okay? This plugin that, like I said, is installed when you activate the add-on. So the same as you do with the modular connector plugin, what you can do is to change the plugin name, the description, so maybe have like the branding of your agency or your service or something like that, okay? That some agencies also requested it. So like I said, these are new things with this. Like you can see how the integration works. And if you want to use this, is very important, we are actually releasing this like publicly next week, okay, with another thing we are preparing. But if you want access to this, since you have come to the webinar, okay, you can write us through the support chat and we will activate it from for your account the same as I have it for my account, okay? So this is very important. Anybody who's listening, you can just write us and we will allow you to already use all these settings, okay? So with this said, let's go to the questions. let me
Yay,
see
let's go.
let me see if I have the Slido here. I'm gonna share this other screen. Okay, give me a second. Let's see, Slido here. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. So first question by Morten. Hi, Morten. He says, hi, Lana. What's the main difference between the Patchstack solution in Modular DS and the standalone one?
Hey, Martin, it's been a while. Actually, yeah, I remember when we had a chat. Morten has used
Oh,
Patchstack before. He's
nice.
one of our agency users, so it's nice to see you again. Hi. So basically, the core functionality is all there. There are some finer lines around maybe reporting and the difference between payment plans. So, for example, for Patchstack, if you're on the developer account, you can start with plans with 25 seats. On modular, you have a bit more flexibility. So it all depends. If you already use modular, then it makes sense to use Patchstack within modular.
Nice. Also, one good thing about combining both services is that if you are using the maintenance reports from Modular DS, which already includes like Google Analytics, Google Commerce, Search Console, and so on, you can also add this security information so the client can also see that. So, great. Well, Caroline is saying if does patch and protect include malware removal if I have already been hacked?
Unfortunately, no, it doesn't. So this is why we usually recommend as soon as you get a site online, install Patchstack, and then you'll be much safer.
Yeah, what we have been saying like through the entire webinar is that this works more on the prevention, like to avoid sites being hacked, okay, rather than once the site is already hacked. Okay, we are trying to put our efforts there to avoid the problems. So yeah, amazing. Then we have a couple of anonymous ones. One says, what is the difference between the patch stack info that shows us the vulnerabilities and the paid version through Modular DS? I'm not clear on what we get. What is the difference between patch stack info? I could
Mm,
say, if I understand correctly, Lana, I would say it's the same info. Like
yeah.
in Modular DS, you don't have to pay to be shown the vulnerabilities. Okay, vulnerabilities are available for all of our users, all plans. Okay, everybody that uses Modular. If you go to the global updater and you have a plugin that has a pending vulnerability, you are gonna see it, and you're gonna see all the information from Patchstack, the link to get directly to Patchstack to the vulnerability page and everything. Okay, you don't have to pay anything besides your Modular DS plan. Okay, to get that. Okay, that's 100% included.
Yeah.
So we have that, and we have another one here. We are using Cloudflare with rules. How does Patchstack complement Cloudflare?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. I think there's also a question in the comment section here that's also about how they interact.
Okay.
So
Okay.
essentially, Cloudflare is a good example of a network level solution. So it will work for very generic requests, it will block them. But Patchstack is a bit more specific than that, and it has insights that Cloudflare doesn't. So things like permissions and all the other application layer aspects of WordPress. Patchstack sees that and can block that. Cloudflare can't. Also, with WAFs like Cloudflare, there's typically a high degree of false positives, which doesn't happen with Patchstack. So, yes, they definitely complement each other, but Cloudflare is more network level security and Patchstack is application layer. And you can use both. In fact, it is good to use both because they work against different things.
Yeah, great, great. Well, I see we have a couple other questions on the chat. Yeah,
Mhm.
I see Anne. Hi, Anne, that is telling us that she's having a problem activating Patchstack on a couple of websites. Okay,
Mhm.
and well, first of all, Anne, I'm sorry about this. This is taking a little bit longer than expected. Okay, we are working with the Patchstack technical team to try to actually debug this and try to replicate this on our own servers. Okay, and we are working with their team, and we hope we can have a fix really soon. Okay, because there is some unusual behavior happening on those websites, and Patchstack is not being able to be activated through Modular DS. Okay, so we are really on it, and I hope we can have a reply for you as soon as possible. Okay, just so you know. Also, Charlie said here, we would like to have deeper integration with Patchstack. You can add a link and we will redirect to the actual Patchstack dashboard. Okay, so important here, okay, is that our modular DS accounts, okay, they are not connected to a Patchstack account, okay. They basically get the Patchstack add-on through modular DS to a separate account, okay. So because of this, what we have done is to add this setting page where you actually can tweak most of the settings you could tweak inside Patchstack, okay. So you guys also have the freedom to change them. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we did it. So I don't know if there are more questions over here. If we're using, okay, I think this is Joel. This is what Lana just said about Cloudflare. Okay. Uh, if we subscribe through Modular DS, do we also get access through the Patchstack dashboard too? Okay, that's what I just said. Okay, for that, what we have done is this settings page. Okay, so you can actually work with it like if you had access to the Patchstack account. Okay, also Jessica here says, okay, this is a good question, Lana. This is a
Yes.
good question.
Yeah.
The one from Jessica. Does Patchstack detect vulnerabilities with custom themes?
No, no, not at the moment, but it is something we're looking into. For the time being, I would say for custom themes, yeah, try to. It's always good to migrate them to premium themes or like known themes that get more eyes on the code. Yeah.
Yeah, here, after all, we just need somebody to actually discover a vulnerability. So if it's a theme you are the only one using, probably nobody's trying to discover a vulnerability and actually publish it publicly. So that's why it's really hard. I don't know how you guys would try to solve this in the future, but it's really hard. Like I understand this, of course. Okay. Okay. Does Patchstack collect any personal data like IPs? Because in Europe there is the GDPR law that are applied to everything and stands first.
Yeah, well, Patchak does collect, for example, IP addresses from attackers in the threat log to see who is trying to attack your website so you can add them to an IP block list. But all of this is done with GDPR in mind.
Okay, of course. Great, great. Okay, so I don't know if we have any more questions over here. What would be the difference between Patchstack and WordFence, for instance?
It's a good question. So WordFence is primarily their very reactive tool. They're mostly known for their malware scanning and they're also website hardening. So they definitely have a place in that. But when it comes to vulnerability protection, like I mentioned, PatchStack has the biggest database and issues virtual patches and mitigation rules before anyone else. So I would say, firstly, the difference is in the way they address security. WordFence is more reactive, we are more proactive, and we also have more data to be able to mitigate vulnerabilities.
Yeah, one important thing we didn't say before is that actually was a crazy stat. Is that last year, I think Nestor shared it with me before our previous webinar. You guys were the number one security disclosure company in the world, like over, I don't know, like Microsoft, or I don't know, like all the big companies. Like you are the number one on the most vulnerabilities discovered, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I can tell you we were very happy when we surpassed Microsoft as well. But yeah, we are the number one vulnerability processor for 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, so it's very hard that you could have a vulnerability in one of your WordPress plugins, themes, and so on, if they're a popular one, and that vulnerability is not present on the Patchstack database. Okay, it will most certainly be there. So we have another one here. I think Mo, what's up? He said, does Patch and Protect block users' IPs of offending users, or does it do something on the software level?
It's a good question. So it doesn't, again, like we said, it doesn't change the code of the software or the plugins. So all of that is intact. It effectively blocks the IPs of those users who are trying to exploit the vulnerability.
Okay, yeah, and I think in one of the new settings, okay, I haven't had the time because in the past couple of days to actually test like all these different settings we are now adding, okay, because there are a lot of them, okay,
Yeah.
but I do think you can actually get some rules about IP blocking or and what do you want to block and things like that. So you can actually do it on the dispatch stack settings through the new with the integration now with Modular DS. So you guys can probably check that out. And of course, if you have any questions about those settings later, you can always ask us. If we don't know the solution, we will always escalate it to the patch stack team. Okay, so feel free to try and tell us more if you have any questions. So I don't know. I think we have gone through all the questions that are here. I don't know, Reyes, if on your side you see anything over there. But if not, I think we don't have any more questions. Okay, last questions. Last question I have, Lana, is that in your opinion, uh, on which websites would be like really, really, really important to activate an add-on like this? Okay, like do you have like a type of website or something in mind, like you say, for this website I could always do it?
Well, my general advice is going to be do it for every
Of
website.
course, yeah,
But if
100%.
if we're talking about real world conditions, let's say you're
Yeah.
an agency and you have so many websites in your list. I would say start with the websites that you can't update first. So
Okay.
maybe they have very
Oh,
complex
that's a good one.
themes, maybe plugins interfere
Yeah.
with each other. And so always you have to test in staging before you actually update the plugin. In those cases, activate patch and protect so that you can stay protected and you have time to test. And
Yeah.
then obviously, if you're dealing with websites that you recently got from clients and you still haven't done like an in-depth audit to see what sort of plugins they use, activate it for them too, because it's better to prevent than to cure.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you said at the beginning, I haven't thought about that, but we have in Modular DS one feature to hide updates because since the beginning, like I don't know, like for the past like 3 years, because so many people tell us, like so many agencies, like they always have this client, like I don't know who did the website, but they have some plugins that cannot be updated because if they are updated, the site breaks, and the site owner they don't want to pay for a new site, so it's there. It's like a Frankenstein over there, and everybody has one of these sites. And if there is a vulnerability on a plugin we cannot update, we either delete the plugin but the plugin might be critical to the website functioning, or we have something like patch and protect to actually prevent the hack. Because if not, we are in a really really bad place. Okay, so that's a really good one. Yeah, I haven't thought about that, but I'm gonna start telling that to everybody who asks about the patch and protect. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I think we have a couple more questions now. uh, okay, if my host uses Patchstack, do we need to purchase the add-on additionally? Okay, that's a good question. I don't know, Lana.
So it depends how it uses it. I know with some hosts, we have agreements where they only send vulnerability notifications, but
Okay.
they don't provide the protection. So in that case, yes, get it through Modular DS. If your host has it as an add-on or included, then you're probably okay as long as you activate it. Then you don't need it separately.
Yeah, I would say probably the best way to detect
Cloudways.
it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Hector.
Yeah,
Jessica
of course.
clarified. Cloudways, yes. So they don't have real-time protection, and I would recommend using Modular DS. Yeah.
Okay, great. Probably I would say, yeah, the best way to find out about this is that if you go to your website and you see in the plugin list that there is a Patchstack plugin, that means you probably have the protection. If there is no Patchstack plugin, that means you probably don't have the protection. Okay, because as soon as you activate the add-on in Modular DS, this Patchstack plugin will be installed on your website to actually provide you with the protection. Okay, so that's a good way to know also. And I think we had another question. Yeah, Andrea, do you have an annual plan? I prefer annual over monthly payments. Okay, so we have annual plans for normal plans like Modular DS plans, okay, to use Modular DS, but for the patch stack integration, okay, it only works monthly, okay? This is because you can, like every month, you can maybe, like some months, you might have more sites because maybe there's a new vulnerability that affects some of your sites. Then in the future, maybe you don't want the patch tag add-on on all of your sites, since it's something that can be changing a lot, okay, and you have to pay per site, okay. We do it monthly because it has a better control for everybody, okay. So there is no chance to pay the patch tag add-on annually, okay. Okay, I have WP Remote Premium account. It says it includes vulnerability alerts. Yeah, and patching. Does this include patch stack, or is this something else? Well, I
Interesting.
guess.
I was just checking. I saw the comment. Let's see. I
Okay.
haven't heard of them being a partner. I could be wrong. Um, No, I do believe it's something else. I do believe it's something else. So it would be good to check where they get their vulnerability notifications. For example, if it's from the general organization, CVE, in that case, there might be a delay. There is definitely actually a delay. So,
Okay.
yeah, when people mention patching, just ask them where the data is actually coming from. Because if it's coming when it's already publicly available and exploitable, then it's too late. And in
Yeah.
Modular DS's case, you get notifications 48 hours before it's available to the public.
Yeah, which is critical because you have 48 hours to actually update the plugin or delete the plugin or whatever you need to do. So you make sure you are not hacked by the vulnerability. And we have seen this, okay, in our own experience. Like it happens all the time. As soon as a vulnerability is actually public, it starts getting attacked like 100 times more, okay, because people knows there is this vulnerability and they will start looking for sites that actually have this vulnerability. So the sooner you can patch it, okay, if it's like in on those 48 hours before it's public, much better for you, undoubtedly. So well, I think we are almost an hour into the webinar. So what we're gonna do is to close this up. We're gonna send this to YouTube so anybody can rewatch it if they need. And also, like I said, a couple of things. If you want to try the new settings with the patch tag integration, just write us on the support chat, okay, to tell us, and we will activate it on your account. And if you have any other questions, any problems at all with the patch tag integration, write us as well through the support chat because we will try to solve it. And if not, we will work with the patch tag team to do it. So, well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Lana, in particular. This has been great, and I'm sure everybody has learned a lot.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. And thanks everyone for the great questions. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I hope maybe I don't know, like in the future, in a few months, we can do something like this again, if you guys want. So well, thank you everybody, and we'll see you on another one. Bye bye.
Bye.